Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that His presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. Well, we are moving on into 2 Kings chapter 5, and it's kind of a lengthy story. It's the story about Naaman, the commander in the Syrian army, who has leprosy, and Elisha, through the power of the Lord, instructs him on what to do to be cured, and so he's cured of his leprosy. Now, we're not going to jump to the end of the story yet, or even the middle of it. We're just going to work at the beginning. And one of the things that we learn about Naaman is that his king, the king of Syria, or Ammon, depending upon your translation, is very pleased with him, and because Naaman has been successful in battle. And the odd thing that we read is that the reason why Naaman was successful is because the Lord, the God of Israel, was with him. Now, what's being attested to here is that the Lord is sovereign over history. The Lord is sovereign over every army. And whenever an army has victory, the only way to really explain it is because the Lord has enabled it, the Lord has permitted it. And here we even read that the Lord was with Naaman. We don't know anything about Naaman's character, just that the Lord was with him and gave him victory. And so that's why the king of Syria is pleased with him and honors him. Another thing that we learn is that Naaman's wife has a servant girl, a slave girl, who is an Israelite. And she was captured in a raid of a village in Israel. And she was taken prisoner and sold as a slave to Naaman's wife. And so here you have the Lord with Naaman, this Syrian commander, and at some level his troops, his men, had been successful in a raid against Israel and had taken a servant girl, an Israelite servant girl, captive, and he purchased her for his wife. And so here's this Israelite girl growing up as a slave, a servant to Naaman's wife in Naaman's household. Well, the other thing we learn about Naaman is that he has leprosy and some type of skin disease. We don't know exactly what. It doesn't match up exactly to leprosy today, but nonetheless a very serious skin disease that would leave Naaman somewhat defiled. And the slave girl tells her master, her mistress, Naaman's wife, that if only Naaman could see the prophet, the man of God in Samaria, in Israel. She's talking about Elisha, that Elisha could cure Naaman. Naaman hears about this from his wife and from the slave girl, and he talks to the king about it, and the king says, yeah, I'll send you to him. And so the king writes a letter to the king of Israel and sends a gift and is expecting the gift to be received, expecting Naaman to be received, and even more expecting Naaman to be healed, to be cured of his leprosy. Now we're going to stop the story there today, but I want to focus on really two things. First of all, the attitude of the slave girl. If I were a slave girl, if I were in her shoes, and I'd been taken captive by this people, and that the husband of my master or my mistress is the one who's overseeing all of this, I don't know that I would be seeking his healing. And yet here she is saying, if only he could see the prophet, of my people, he would come to know God's healing. And she's actually wanting well-being and peace for him. Wow, that is powerful, to where we would actually pray and seek the well-being of those who have done us wrong. And so this slave girl, this Israelite girl, wow, what a heart she has, that she loves her neighbor as herself, even when her neighbor is the one who has taken her into captivity and turned her into a slave girl. The second thing, my camera's slipping. There we go. The second thing is the attitude of Naaman, that he is willing to try anything at this point in terms of going to the God of a people that he just defeated, that he captured. His band of raiders had success over them. It's like their God wasn't able to save him, and yet he's willing to seek out her God to see if he could heal him. And so Naaman requests permission from the king to go to the people, the king of the slave girl, to see if there's healing from her God. Well, wherever you find yourself scattered today, humble yourself to seek the Lord. And second, also humble yourself to pray for those who have done you wrong and to even seek their healing, just like that slave girl did. Well, God bless. Have a great day, and seek the Lord's peace and blessing upon those who have done you wrong.